if you could sort of flash back to the beginning, what was, try to tell us your mindset when you first started filming yourself with your iPhone.
Yeah, so I had, I got sick after a high fever, and over the course of about a year and a half, got worse and worse and worse and worse. And as I tried to get a diagnosis and get help from doctors, was at first told that I was totally fine, and eventually that, I was depressed, anxious, dehydrated, and eventually that I had stressed, and that I had eventually that I had conversion disorder, which is a kind of modern day name for hysteria. And so I was left in the situation where I was completely bedridden, and really came to understand that there was no help, that there was no one out there who was coming to, rescue me, as I say in the film. And this was the most profound experience of my life, and my whole life I've been a writer. And so normally I would have, picked up a pen and started journaling, and I had kept journals my whole life. But I reached a point where I was so limited in terms of my cognitive exertion that if I would write, a sentence or two of an email, I would pass out for the next 4 hours. And so for me, the recording on my iPhone was really just a substitute. It was a space to put that grief and fear and anger in this moment in my life when I had no idea what was happening to me, and needed an outlet and a way to express that.
Yeah. And what was the moment where you decided to sort of share those, even before you decided to put them into a feature film? Like, was it just for you, like you would keep a diary? Did you show them to Omar? Like, did you put them online? What were those little things?
It's interesting, because I think it was a sort of thing where, like, I would record whenever Omar wasn't in the room, and then when I heard him coming, I would, like, turn off the camera, and, like, because it was just, in some ways, like, I think it wasn't about sharing it. It was really just about me having a way to talk to someone.
Yeah.
And the first time I actually really started showing the footage was when I started seeing a new doctor, and was trying to explain to him my symptoms. And so, I would say, I would get up in the middle of the night and walk across the room and collapse on the floor, and I wouldn't be able to lift my head, and I don't know why that happens to me. Or, sometimes I can't speak and I don't know what's going on. And he was just sort of looking down at his chart and not making eye contact. And I think, translating what I was saying into, like, headache. And I took out my phone and I said, no, look, this is what happened to me last night. And it's actually the first few images in the film. And he just sort of turned white and said, oh my God, you need an MRI, you need a spinal tap. And the sort of reaction of shock on it and horror on his face was like, I was like, oh, that's what it's like. Like, that's what my day-to-day life is actually like. And it occurred to me that, I spent 18 months just talking, and no one had really been able to understand what I was trying to say. And in a few seconds of just showing it just sort of transformed the conversation. And so that gave me the insight that maybe this story had to be told visually, and that if we can bring people into our homes and bedrooms and into these moments that no one really ever gets to see, that maybe that would have to start to sort of change things. So that's when I started to kind of think, okay, maybe I should make a film. And then I think wanting to make a film and then actually deciding to take on something that insane are, I think, two different things. And for me, the kind of the drive and the ambition to do it really came from the community. So it was going online and realizing that what had happened to me wasn't lightning, that I wasn't just unlucky, but that there were millions of people, many of whom had been sick for decades, homebound or bedridden for decades, and that was, in some ways a product of a choice of many choices many people had made, that I started to conceive this as a social justice issue. And that's when I said, okay, I need to make this film, no matter what I have to try to make it.